Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I am your host, Joe Zolo, and I am disappointed Ryan didn't do his face when it said we went live. Ryan, I'm disappointed in you.
I was trying to get ready to make the tweet. I failed. I'm sorry.
Oh, so rude, so rude. But joining me, as always, here for Week 6 of fantasy football in the NFL, we are still chugging, we're still kicking, Joshua Hudson and Ryan Weiss. And for the first time on No Punt Intended with Club Fantasy, the wonderful Samantha Previte from the New York Post. Samantha, how are you?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
Fantastic.
Awesome. Great. Now that you're here, we get to talk fantasy football. That's always fun.
Yeah. Super
Very
excited
to be here.
Super excited to have Samantha on here. She's also a huge TikTok superstar, so be sure to check her out on there as well if you're an avid TikToker like I know Ryan is.
All the time.
Yes, the fledgling fantasy football TikTok. Like,
yes,
it's super niche.
It's
booming. Nothing wrong with getting in on the ground floor. So
yes, it is booming. Quickly, and I had said this just before we hopped on to Ryan and Josh. I wanted to bring up, because now is where we start getting into more trades throughout the season, right? This is sort of the time where people decide, okay, am I making a run, or especially in Dynasty, am I selling the farm and playing for next year? But even in redraft, that's like, if you're sitting at 1-4, 0-5, you're kind of sitting there like, okay, can I make some drastic changes to maybe turn my season around? There was a trade that just went through in my league. Both of these teams are 2-3. So same record, same exact thing. One team traded Jamal Williams, Jerry Jeudy, and Emmanuel Sanders for Corey Davis, DJ Chark, Melvin Gordon, and Deebo Samuel. Can you tell me right now who won that trade? I don't want an explanation. I just want to know who won that trade. Josh.
I mean, really the best player in that deal is Shark, so I would go the latter. But it just feels like a hodgepodge of nothing, really, just trading depth pieces at that point.
Okay, Samantha.
Yeah, I would agree. The second side of the trade seems like a lot better than the first side, but it's not a lot. Like you said, it's not a lot of guys that you're excited to start at this point.
Yeah, Ryan.
If not for today's news, the Melvin Gordon side by far, but otherwise it's just like meh.
I had said that it's the DJ Chark side like completely, and the guy who traded him away is the same guy that traded away Lamar Jackson earlier in the year.
For all those crazy
for Gardner Minshew and Melvin Gordon. So yeah, he's the bet. So if you lose the league, you have to eat an Arby's fish sandwich. So he's definitely lining himself up to eat the Arby's fish sandwich. That's what we're going for.
I have never had one of those. Is that supposed to be really gross? Like that's a punitive thing.
So here's the thing, Samantha, right? What we say all the time, my friend group, we're back in high school, we're still buddies today. We sit here and say that the Arby's menu is the grossest menu of fast food by far. Like not even close. So when we saw that Arby's was coming out with a fish sandwich, we decided that the league punishment, whoever loses, has to buy and eat an Arby's fish sandwich. Because we can only imagine if Arby's screws up roast beef and euros, the fish sandwich cannot be good. So they have to eat the fish sandwich. That's all it is. Like, it's not that like Arby's is bad or the fish sandwich is gross. We're just assuming it is probably one of the worst fast food menu items on the
Well, she's going to eat this and it's going to be like, wait, this was a punishment? This is delicious.
Josh, not a single one of us like fish. But not a single one of us.
Let's rewind, though. I love that he said it's not that Arby's is bad. Mere sentences after saying everything on Arby's is gross.
I don't know what to tell you. We saw the fish sandwich commercial and we were like, yeah, that's the punishment. That's definitely the punishment.
It's anti-Arby's.
Because it was 1 year it was take a shot of hot sauce. And then the other year was you have to take the SATs. Keep in mind, all of us had already taken the SATs and all of us were already in college. There was no need to take the SATs.
There you go.
I like that punishment. That's a pretty good one.
It is a good one. Yeah.
It's like painful, but it's not like permanent, like getting a tattoo of something stupid. Like some of those I'm like, I would never, ever agree to that.
Yeah. No, I would never agree to a tattoo. So I agree with you there. All right, so the same thing happens every single show, except you have more fun, new, and exciting guests and more crazy shenanigans that all four of us are going to get into here within the next hour. Quick news before we get into the 3 Up, 3 Down, Upside Downside stream of the week and the ever so weighted and what people love on this show, Kicker of the Week. Just found
It's the
out
only thing we're undefeated in, so go
I
Joe.
am 5-0 at choosing kickers. I don't know why. It is unreal. Quick news. If you missed it on Sunday, Dak Prescott went down with what is a compound fracture of his leg and a dislocated ankle. He's out for the year, supposedly a 6 to 8 month timetable for return. Definitely not as bad as what Alex Smith had.
No.
Like it's
Well,
not
let's
even.
pray for no complications during.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is true. This is
That's
true.
That to me is what really messed up Alex Smith and his potential recovery.
Correct. Yes. And it is definitely not a cramp like Tony Romo had pointed out on the broadcast.
That was terrible.
I still don't understand how that guy is the best color commentator in the game because clearly he's not. Dan Quinn and GM Thomas Dimitroff have been fired from the Atlanta Falcons. We talked about it last week that there was a potential if they lost this game. I think we all said that Dan Quinn should be fired, but I believe, Ryan, you had said that it probably won't happen just because what's the point?
Yeah, I do love that. The very first take I saw was, our defense is terrible. What should we do? Promote our defensive coordinator. I was like, that is exactly what I said.
That was exactly what I thought too. I was so confused.
Yeah, made no sense.
Le'Veon Bell was released by the New York Jets Tuesday night. The top odds, I believe, to land him are the Chicago Bears.
He came out today and said, roll in offense over winning games, which is so on brand for Bell. So,
like, I don't know where he ends up.
The two teams that seem to be getting the most buzz are the Chiefs and the Dolphins.
I was going to say the Dolphins, but I don't see them as contenders. I think if you're the Dolphins, you're going to get Houston's pick, and you could just take a better running back for less money in the upcoming draft.
Well, it's true, but at the same token, why not? I mean, look, he's already getting paid from the Jets this year. He could sign for a lowball deal.
Yeah, vet minimum.
Make it a 1-year deal. I mean, you're 2-3. You're what, 2 games right now out of first place? Fitzpatrick has actually played well. They have a chance to compete this year, and they have Houston's first round and second round picks. So even if they do win, they could still end up with a top 5 pick.
No, I mean, it's true. I would think the former of the Chiefs is probably more realistic, but again, I don't think they want to dig into Edwards-Hilaire's what's the word I'm
playing
looking
time, snaps.
Yes, thank
volume.
you. Progression, yeah, whatever. Any of those
Words are hard, Joe.
I
know.
hate English. We all know this. Also, Broncos running back Melvin Gordon was charged with a DUI. That news broke this morning, Wednesday morning, October 14th. Most likely the rumors are he's going to be suspended 2 to 3 games. Nothing has come down yet, so we will wait and see on that.
He's never been in trouble like this before, right?
I don't believe so.
I know he's missed games, but I think they've all been injury or holdout. Because if he even gets suspended, they'll appeal it. He'll play during the appeal.
Yep.
Maybe one game. I wouldn't freak out too much over that.
Yeah, I wouldn't freak out either. And then my quick news and quick thought that I added in was advanced analytics are bullshit. Kick the field goal, Minnesota. I'm sorry. Listen, look. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Go up 8 points. Go up 8 points. It's just like, I understand if you convert the first down, there's no shot Seattle wins. But if you don't, Seattle's going to win the football game. It's Russell Wilson on the other side. At least give you, because they didn't convert the 2-point conversion. So Minnesota still would have won that game. Idiot. This is a reason why Minnesota's 1-4.
So it has nothing to do with their terrible defense.
I mean,
that's
partly
pretty much what you just said.
Josh, it partly has to do with that. It also 100% has to do with the fact they would have won the game if they kicked the field goal. Because it's not like Seattle was calling a 2-point conversion because it was, we don't like our kicker. It was the best play call they had for a 2-point conversion so they could go up by a field goal. Yeah. That was their best call, and they missed it. Minnesota would have won that football game if they kicked the field goal. It is in plain sight. Minnesota could be 2-3 right now instead of 1-4.
I think hindsight is always plain sight.
I was screaming at my television for them to kick the field goal. Oh, God. It's like baseball and those analytic nerds. Sam, I know you're in analytics. Samantha, I'm sorry.
I was going to say.
I know you're in analytics. Listen, I don't mind analytics. I just can't stand the fact that when you're looking at football and you can go up 8 points or stay at 5 points, I don't get it. I really don't. Being an analytics person, can you kind of explain it to me? Because you're on both sides. You obviously know the game, but then you're also analytics with the New York Post. So, like, you kind of see it from both perspectives in that instance.
Yeah, so my job isn't like football analytics, though. I mean, I'm obviously familiar with it. But my approach with my job is very like data informed, not data driven, that every single stat should come with nuance and should be taken holistically. And that's maybe not like the take that I think a lot of math majors, which is what I majored in, would have. But that's kind of how I feel, that I think like if you just look at it blindly, then it just kind of becomes a buzzword. So I always say, like, that shouldn't ever override your intuition necessarily, but it's just another data point to have. So yeah, kick the field goal.
Thank you.
Boom.
From the analytics person in this group,
it up.
I was
the field
just
goal.
waiting. I wanted to be like, all right, now explain it to Joe like he's 5, and then you said kick the field goal. I'm like,
kick the field goal. Kick the field goal. Bang. Oh, Mike Zimmer. You stupid. You got to kick the field goal there. All right, let's get into some of these questions here from YouTube and over on Periscope from our new buddy, Sean. Thanks for supporting the show, Sean. He needs in a half-point PPR, pick 2 receivers and 1 flex. Jamison Crowder against the Dolphins, Terry McLaurin against the Giants, Kenny Golladay against the Jags, Tyler Boyd against Indianapolis, Robert Woods against San Francisco on Sunday night, and Jonathan Taylor against the Bengals. Samantha, I'll start with you. We'll start with pick 2 receivers first, and then we'll add in that flex because obviously JT is not a receiver. So I'll leave those up for you so you can see him again. Pick 2 receivers for me. Who you think?
I'm going to go Woods because I'm a big Bobby Trees fan, and maybe Golladay because I think the matchup is pretty good.
Okay. Josh, I'll go to you.
I feel like at this point, Jamison Crowder is a must start. I believe in half PPR, he's like wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3 in points per game right now. It's something absurd like that. Golladay, I love the matchup. I think those would be my 2. And McLaurin, I think even with a so-so matchup against James Bradbury, who's quietly been a very solid corner this year, I would probably go him in the flex.
Okay. Ryan?
Yeah, first 3, Crowder, McLaurin, Golladay.
Sam, I'll let you add in your flex in there as well.
I would go Crowder there. I have such a bias against the Jets, I think. I think having to be exposed to them all the time and just seeing like how they can disappoint you so much. So yeah, it's kind of funny because like people come at us all the time. They're like, oh, you're so biased towards the home teams. It's like, have you seen what we write about them? Like we literally wrote like they are good at nothing. Like
I love that. To combine.
The only thing they are good at is throwing to Jamison Crowder. That's about it.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Combined, both New York football teams are 0-10. What a fall from grace the Jets and the Giants have both had since the end of...
Were they ever in...
I was about to say, the Giants, maybe they were at a high point.
Yeah, the Giants were, but yeah.
Super Bowls.
Hey!
The Jets haven't been relevant since Joe Namath.
Hey, Mark Sanchez, 2 straight AFC championship games.
I guess I didn't make...
The Jets
also,
haven't been relevant since Joe Namath.
Josh, bad publicity is still publicity, but fumble. I'm just saying.
Everybody knows it.
Butt fumble, Mark Sanchez. Sean, I would also probably go Crowder, McLaurin, Galladay in there. I like Jonathan Taylor's matchup a lot, but not enough to play him over any of those other three guys right there. Next one from our other buddy Lee. Needs a week 6 waiver quarterback. Ooh, Ryan, do we wait for later in the show?
Up Ryan's alley with the stream of the week.
He buried the lead. Stream of the week is the last player on that list. Go get Kirk Cousins. He's gonna feast. So.
Yes, Kirk Cousins against the lowly Atlanta Falcons defense. Yeah. And our buddy Tommy Garrett chimes in from what Samantha just said. He just wrote an article on the Jets, and he said they have no value. Move on. So
I mean, the ESPN power rankings yesterday, it literally said like weakness and it said football. They aren't.
Wow, that's
I was like,
tough.
this is absolutely savage.
That is tough.
Wow.
Weakness football. Can we have relegation to the CFL? Can we do that? That would be great.
I feel like we need that. I mean,
Like,
they do it in fantasy football leagues.
Yeah, get the Toronto Argonauts or something in here. That would be amazing. The British Columbia Lions. Oh, that'd be incredible. And Angie's asking Bears -3.5. Does that mean they have to win by more or win by less? So Angie, I'll answer this. It means the Bears have to win by at least 3.5 points. So essentially, what you're assuming is going into the game, the Bears are down 3.5 points. I really don't know how it explains it.
Down 3.5. The Panthers start the game with 3.5 points.
Yes. So essentially, if the Bears win by 3, you lose your bet. If the Bears win by 4, you win your bet, 4 or above. They put that half point in there so that there's no pushes. If it was -3 and the Bears win by 3, you don't win or lose. You get your money back, though. So a push in betting is still a win in my book because you're not losing money. So that's how I tend to look at it. But I would stay the hell away from the Bears -3.5 this week. I am not a fan of that game whatsoever. The Bears are sneaky good, but they're not win by more than a field goal good, in my opinion. If anything, home underdog with the Panthers, I kind of like that a tiny bit better than the Bears bet. And I'll get to my blurred lines bet later in the show as well. All right, I am just going to run through these 3 up, 3 down, and then we'll go right into the upside downsides here. 3 up, Samantha. You had Justin Jackson, who was the king of garbage time with like 4 catches or something on their final drive. Will Fuller and Alexander Madison, who had 20 carries for 112 yards. He is a mini Dalvin Cook. And I hope if you have Cook in your league, you backed him up and handcuffed him with Madison, because I don't know if Madison's the real deal, but he is definitely a very, very good backup to Dalvin Cook.
He will look like the real deal this week against
Atlanta. Oh my god! Yeah. Oh my goodness! Yes, very happy. Ryan,
he's definitely one of those guys that's just like one injury away from being that top tier guy. So I think he vaults kind of into that position. Like, not every team has that, not every running back has a really strong handcuff. Like, we've seen that in like with Saquon Barkley, like not one of those Giants guys do you want to roster at this point, but he's the opposite. So I think he's like kind of a low end RB1 this week.
That's great call.
Definitely against that Atlanta defense. Yes. Ryan.
Yeah.
You had Justin Herbert, who seems to be slinging the ball all over the field, except he can't figure out how to win a football game.
Yep.
Hey, that was on Badgley this week, man.
Listen.
I mean, I'm all for, don't put the hands of the game into the kicker, but they are a player on the team. They have just as much of a role as everybody else. Herbert put them in a position to win. Badgley failed.
Sure. He did as well. Miss a wide open KJ Hill on an in route on 3rd and 10. Yeah. Wide open KJ Hill on an in route. And look, you can never put the blame on one person for a football game, because you could put the blame on the kick, but then you could put the blame on 100 other things that happen.
I mean, absolutely.
Game.
But if I'm banking on a guy that's been in the league a couple years versus a guy that is playing his 4th game,
you bank on the Badger.
Exactly.
Yeah, you bank on the Badger.
Yeah, no,
you bank
again,
on the Badger.
Michael Badgley is probably the only kicker that I actually like because he went to the University of Miami. So I'm all about the Money Badger. But he should have made not only the extra point, but that 50-plus yarder that he missed.
Yeah.
Money Badger. I've never heard that nickname. I like it.
Oh, he has it trademarked.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
even
he has
better.
it trademarked. Yeah.
Josh, quick question: how did Miami fare against Clemson?
Oh, stop.
Just a quick question, because you said Miami.
I was at work and I missed it, and
You said Miami would hold their own, and they got spanked. Actually,
yeah. Dude, Derek King looks so bad. He looks so overmatched. Oh my god.
Well,
yeah,
it's not the '80s anymore, Josh. You got to realize that.
Hey, we were good in the 2000s too. I don't want to hear it.
Hey, you had Gore, Willis, McGahee. No, you had great guys. It's not Michael Irvin in the Jimmy Johnson era anymore. Ryan, you also had Jamison Crowder, and just the Miami Dolphins as a whole. If you bet the Dolphins, congratulations, because that is impressive.
Yeah.
Like, that was a unbelievable win by them. Josh, you had Travis Fulgham, who you say is now the new wide receiver 1 in Philly. No one guessed that, and I mean literally no one guessed that. Myles Gaskin. What a showing from the Dolphins in Week 5 you had up on there. And Miles Sanders, which I hate, because if you take out the 74-yard touchdown run, he had 10 carries for 6 yards.
But you know what? You could do that with everybody. He had 2 touchdowns, and nobody expected Miles Sanders to do anything, which really he didn't. But again, one run makes the difference.
It does. Josh, the demon's back. Unplug, replug. Myself, I had Mike Williams. It's about damn time. CeeDee Lamb, it's official. He's the wide receiver 1 in Dallas. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And Todd Gurley. Gurley had a great week against the Panthers. Downs. Samantha, you had Lamar Jackson. Jerick McKinnon, who, I feel that one. The Jerick McKinnon one hurt. That really hurt.
I feel betrayed. And that was in Scott Fishbowl. So I took my first L. I took my first L of the season, and it was, like a couple things really went wrong, but that one was a big one. So
yeah, that's tough. And then Antonio Gibson, you say as a whole, the football team is a disaster.
Gotta love the receiving work with Gibson, though.
Sure.
I do. It just it was a disappointing outing because I thought it would be.
Yeah, I agree. I started Gibson in a couple places myself, so I felt that one with you.
Yep.
I think better days are to come, but it's just a disappointing day. And I know there's just so much like craziness happening there with like Dwayne Haskins and everything like that. What a week for him. I feel bad for that guy.
Yeah. Wow.
The drama.
From starter to third string to sent home sick.
Yeah.
What a tough week for
And
Dwayne.
his dog died.
Sick, yes. Oh, his
Sick.
dog died? Oh,
right.
that's even worse. Oh my God. Yeah, no,
his dog had a seizure and died like the same, like 2 days after he was relegated to third string. I was like, could you just pile on?
They say that dogs feel your pain. I mean,
yeah, so he just,
wow.
Like,
damn, he
what you're saying
really
is,
felt that pain. Holy crap.
What you're saying is the Washington football team killed his dog. So.
100%.
Essentially. Dan Snyder out here doing more bad things. Oh, Dan.
As if he couldn't get any worse.
Literally, right? Ryan, your 3 downs. The Eagles defense.
I second that.
Clap, clap, clap. Matt Ryan and Joshua Kelly, who has disappointed all of us.
Yeah, I just want to touch on the Eagles defense. How do you let a dude... the 4th touchdown is the one that bothers me the most.
Wide open.
He has killed you this entire game. And what decision are you making at this point? Where are you literally just saying, let's see if he can score 4?
I'm pretty sure
they
that
kept trotting out a linebacker to cover him. Like, are you serious right now?
Josh, I'm pretty sure on his 4th touchdown, that was a cover 4 defense.
Yeah.
Because
you're running prevent.
What? Like, what are you doing? Oh, that was stupid.
I'm telling you right now, watching that game, Ryan absolutely convinced me that the Eagles have no idea how to cover tight ends because they treated Chase Claypool like a tight end.
That's what I was telling my wife the entire time because obviously I had Ebron as my stream of the week. I go, he played tight end in college, so he is everything that Ebron should have gotten. I was so tilted.
Well, there was talk after the game when Claypool was running in the slot. And they were like, wait, no, that's Ebron. Ebron's supposed to line up there. I have no idea what I'm doing. and Roethlisberger's like shouting to him, literally in front of the defense, and the defense still couldn't stop him. They knew exactly what he was running.
I mean, the Eagles defense is terrible. Their secondary is awful.
It's so rough.
For every great game that Jim Schwartz calls, he has a game like that, and I'm just like, how dumb are you? How are you a coach in the NFL right now? I don't get it.
The world should just be happy that wasn't Ebron, because I would be insufferable if that was Ebron. I would have probably had to cancel Samantha because
and I would be very wet.
Would have just been me talking so
Which
much
we still
shit.
have to get to, by the way, Joe. I hope you have that video queued up somewhere.
Yeah, strange. Let me download that as I continue to talk right now. Josh, your downs, you had James Robinson, Amari Cooper, and Tyler Higbee. Myself, I had the 49ers, and I quote, "We are taking Jimmy Garoppolo out for precautionary measures."
Yeah.
Sure, Kyle. Whatever you say, Kyle Shanahan. You took him out for your third string quarterback. That's cute.
Who apparently leapfrogged the second string because he was benched the week before.
Because of last week, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Wow. Could you imagine?
My favorite thing, and I don't go at people on Twitter, but there were so many people talking about Nick Mullins being a better fit for this offense than Jimmy G, and now we just completely disregarded Mullins. We're jumping to CJ Beathard. It's just such a mess there.
It is. It's an absolute mess. I also have Michael Gallup. Wait for him to have a big game, then sell him at the highest price you possibly can. He's done. And Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Worst defense in football, 9 points. Come on, DJ. I know you're better than that. I know. And he didn't even get sacked that much. I projected 8 sacks. He didn't even get sacked that much. It was very disappointing. But Darius Slayton showed up, which I was very happy about. Yes. All right. Heading into our upsides right now. I'm going to run through everything, and then we'll start picking out players. Samantha, our guest last week, Eric, swept the board. He was 4-0. So
like
great
our first
job
time
to
this
Eric.
Season, right?
Yeah, first time this season. I believe for the actually, I think first time this season overall. Yeah. Samantha, you have Matthew Stafford against Jacksonville.
Great pick.
Ronald Jones against Green Bay. Justin Jefferson against the Atlanta Falcons, and Mike Gesicki against the New York Jets. Ryan, you were 1-3 last week. You are 6-13-1 overall. But
we all are at this point, Ryan. It's okay.
but the one you did smash last week was Teddy Two Gloves, and your quarterback stream of the week this week is Kirk Cousins.
There you go.
You have DeAndre Swift, Laviska Shenault, and Irv Smith Jr. Josh, you were 3-1 last week.
That's a bounce back.
Yes, big bounce back. Best out of the bunch currently sitting on the screen right now. This week, you have the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton himself, Monday night against the Arizona Cardinals. Damien Harris against Denver. McCole Hardman against Buffalo. And Darrell Daniels against Dallas. Now, everyone watching, yes, I had the same reaction you do currently. Is who? That's the exact same reaction I had.
I'm sure we'll get to it because Joe's going to be like, please explain this pick.
Yes. I mean, I did read through your notes, and it does make sense, but I would like a little more explanation. Myself, I was 1-2-1 last week, the one tie being Damiere Byrd didn't play, so there's your tie. I am 10-9-1 overall. Quarterback, Alex Smith against the Giants. Jonathan Taylor against Cincinnati.
Say that again, Ryan, please. I don't think Joe heard you.
What?
Who's not starting? Alex Smith.
He's not?
No. It came out today and said Kyle Allen got to start.
Motherfucker. Okay, well, I have to change my graphic now. How do you bench Kyle Allen when he's medically cleared and then come back and say, oh, let's start him?
It was precautionary.
Oh, my God. Dude. Oh, my. All right, so it's not
the
Alex
Washington
Smith.
football team, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. They'll screw up your graphic and kill your dog.
Oh, God.
All right, you know what?
They need to get Alex Smith off the field. Like, I'd love to see him as a comeback type story, but
I mean,
come on, that offensive line, like, I held my breath every single snap.
Yes.
he was getting clobbered by Aaron Donald, who had 4 sacks.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable. Okay, so I'll just switch it, right? I'll go Kyle Allen because I really feel that Giants defense is that bad. So, all right, so I'm going to have to change my graphic now. Cool. Let me just type this into the show notes here and write in my planner that you're an idiot and you didn't know who was actually starting for the football team this week. I also have Justin Jefferson at receiver. It was funny, Samantha, because I had typed Justin Jefferson in, and I realized we were working on the show doc at the exact same time. And I scroll up, and I see you just finished typing Justin Jefferson. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Shoot.
Great minds think alike. I love it.
Yeah.
And it is.
This has to be the most painful thing you've ever done on this show, Joe.
It's painful, but I'll explain. Jimmy Graham against Carolina. Now, Samantha, I know you're new to the show. If people have been listening for a long time, you know I hate Jimmy Graham because I had him on my team one year when he was with Seattle, and he did F all. And then Green Bay, he was terrible. I am now done hating Jimmy Graham because he's been off my team for 3 years. Okay, so like at this point, I have no reason, right? People aren't drafting him high anymore like they were still doing last year. He's a flyer now. He's a waiver tight end. So I can't really be mad. He's shown he still has something left in the tank. All my hate is now directed towards Pete Carroll because he's a bad head coach and he never utilized him correctly in Seattle. So there's what my hate is now pushed towards. But Samantha, we'll start with some of your guys here. Let's start with Justin Jefferson. Since you and I both have him, there's two people on this panel here that like Justin Jefferson. You says he has a quiet week 5 when what should have been a favorable matchup against the Seahawks. It's another unbelievably favorable matchup against the Falcons. You think it's a big bounce back week for him?
Yeah, I mean, this is got to be the best matchup, and I think you got to hammer all of your Vikings this week. Irv Smith, Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins, any guy you can get in, I think at this point is going to be really great. And just, I mean, also we talked about this, like them promoting their defensive coordinator to head coach, like really questionable decisions there. So I just think that whole team is in shambles, and I really like Justin Jefferson this week.
Okay. I'll piggyback onto I'm for the same reasons. It's Atlanta. That's my only reason, honestly. It's Atlanta. Look what Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore did. It's Atlanta. And Angie, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I know you're a Falcons fan. But just this season's in the towel. Hope you go 0-16 and get Trevor Lawrence. That's your only hope at this point because Ryan's contract's up at the end of this year. Another interesting one that I see on here is Ronald Jones, because he gouged the Bears defense on Thursday Night Football last week. You think he does it again to another NFC North team?
I think it's a matter of volume at this point, just because this was a really confusing backfield or messy backfield going into the season. Now there's been a lot of attrition with McCoy and Fournette injured. And then Keyshawn Vaughn, who was like a hot name coming out of the draft, I think completely fell off the face of the earth, like was a healthy scratch for a couple weeks. And then like they clearly don't trust him. I mean, he fumbled on their 27-yard line, which resulted in that Jimmy Graham touchdown. He also got banged up on the play. So there's just not that much like competition at this point. So, I mean, Rojo truthers, there's a lot of them out there on Twitter. Like, I guess they can just like have their party now because I just think he's now a must start just because of the volume.
Keep in mind, too, the Packers right now are allowing the second most fantasy points per game to running backs. Now, I know a lot of that came with Alvin Kamara scoring over 40 on them, but they also gave up 19 plus to Todd Gurley, who, again, his big week last week is really what propelled him into that top 12 at the running back position. But, again, that's 2 straight weeks now that Todd Gurley's been doing well. They gave up 20 plus to Dalvin Cook. The way that Ronald Jones is running, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to see another good performance from him, stave off Leonard Fournette again, and keep the train moving. Rojo seems to be doing well. I still wouldn't trust him in the passing game. He just seems out of position every single time Tom Brady's targeting him. But right now, he's running with a purpose. He looks very good.
And it's not like they can afford to bench him for anyone. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a fact. Ronald Jones in the passing game just looks so clunky. He doesn't look like he should be out in open space. He His footwork seems completely off when he runs routes. He just doesn't seem smooth at all.
It's rough.
So it's really hard to watch him run routes and be in the passing game. Ryan, I mean, Samantha touched on it. Start every Minnesota Viking you have possible. Like, that's not even a question.
Yep.
The interesting one I see in your lineup is DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
We know what Joe Mixon did to the Jags. He absolutely torched them.
Yep.
And the Jags last week played the Texans, and David Johnson had 96 yards on them as well. DeAndre Swift isn't the main workhorse in that backfield right now. It's Adrian Peterson. Do you feel Swift's receiving upside gets him
100%.
and pushes him over the edge in this situation?
Yeah, if you just run down, Naheem Hines caught 8 balls for 45 against Jacksonville. Jonathan Taylor added another 6 for 67. Even Marlon Mack caught 3 balls in that game. Gaskin caught 5 against them. Mixon caught 6 against them. David Johnson only caught 2. But Swift they're starting to use him more and more in that passing game role. I think when I looked, it was, I lost my notes. 6 receptions and 42 yards in the passing game is what they're allowing. They've also allowed 2 receiving touchdowns. If he just hits the 6 for 42, he's going to give you a decent week in PPR leagues. If he hits on that touchdown, all of a sudden you're talking about an RB2 week for him.
Yeah, the Jags right now tied for the 9th most receptions to running backs. That right now is where Swift is shining. Again, I feel like we never know really week to week what the hell Matt Patricia and the Detroit Lions are going to do.
Oh, just not carry on Johnson. That's what they're.
Yeah, I mean that's basically what we know at this point.
I mean, Matt Patricia might be gone after this week, so who knows?
There you go.
I mean, we all know it's not going to be Adam Gase because apparently he's got some dirt on someone there. Like that's the only reason he's keeping his job at this point. It's got to be someone else.
He's got nudes of someone. I don't know.
I want the job security of Adam Gase. I want to be so bad at my job and at my profession that everyone outside of my profession knows I'm the worst, yet I still keep my job and make a lot of money. How does that work? In what world does that work? That is literally
the American dream.
Oh my God. How does that work? It's ridiculous. Josh, getting into your guys, I mean, Andy Dalton, he fills in for Dak against Arizona. Damien Harris, Cam Newton's back. That'll open up running lanes.
I will point this out. I actually had Damien Harris as my downside last week. The big difference, Cam Newton is back this week. That running quarterback is going to open up running lanes.
I still not a big fan of Damien Harris this week just because he really needs a touchdown to have his upside because he's not going to catch the football.
I agree with you on that point, but you're also talking about a defense that has given up 2 100-yard games to running backs.
Sure. No, 100%.
So there's at least that upside there.
Yeah, no, the reasoning is 100% there. In Standard League, I think Damien Harris is a smash start this week. I just think in PPR, don't be like, Damien Harris is my RB1 this week.
I never said that.
No, I'm saying that for the people, Josh. I'm saying that for the people. You did advise the people to start Marquez Valdez-Scantling a few weeks ago, so I just gotta be sure. Never letting that one go.
I said he was an upside play. I never said throw him in your lineups.
Never letting that one go. Never in a million years letting that one go. Because I heard, there's no wide receiver 2 in Green Bay. Yeah, it's Alan Lazard, Dumbo. Mecole Hardman against Buffalo.
Sure.
Alan, it doesn't matter if he's hurt. He's shown out in the games that he's not hurt.
Along.
Ryan, you really need to get a bell or something because it's never going to stop. You have Mecole Hardman because there's no Sammy Watkins this week. Hardman should fill in basically as their second receiving threat at the receiver position. Obviously, Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. But the tight end, Darrell Daniels. No clue. Never heard of him. I have nothing more to say. Please continue because this is baffling to me.
So, first off, the Cowboys apparently they're struggling guarding tight ends. On average, the 7th most fantasy points per game allowed. Okay, that's the first thing. So the matchup there is good. When you look at the 5 games that they've played, 4 out of those 5, the starting tight end has averaged more than 10 yards per catch. Okay. 10 yards per catch. Now, again, I understand you're looking at a very low volume play. This is a guy that has seen all of 4 targets over the last 3 weeks. 2 of those 3 weeks, he has outsnapped Dan Arnold, who is supposedly their starting tight end. Darrell Daniels is averaging over 15 yards per reception. Now, there's a very good chance that he's only going to see 2 targets. Maybe he only catches 1, but maybe he catches both. But what happens if one of those is a touchdown? That 5th week that the tight end did not average 10 yards per catch, they gave up a touchdown, not only to Austin Hooper, but also the second tight end there, Harrison Bryant. The Dallas Cowboys can be had at tight end. We all know that DeAndre Hopkins is going to see the football. Right now, he has a 29.3% target share from Kyler Murray and that Arizona passing offense. But they're going to dump it off to other people. Other people are going to see an opportunity. There is a chance, if you're looking for an absolute deep, low-owned flyer in DFS, Daniels could be a lottery ticket.
When I was working on the DFS report today, Dallas against the tight ends came up, and I straight up was like, there's no tight ends there worth mentioning. Move it along. But
Dallas
maybe you're
everyone.
right.
I'm going to look like a freaking genius if he scores a touchdown on 2 catches. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, Dallas against everyone is a fair.
I hope Dan Arnold has 8 catches for like 200 yards. That is all I hope for. It is all I hope
Will
for.
you be
Hey, you know what?
insufferable, Josh?
Oh, yeah, he will be. Absolutely, he will be.
Oh.
He'd be like, you did it again. You picked the wrong guy.
Yeah, except I can't really yell at you for Darrell Daniels because it's like, I mean, no one had Darrell Daniels. It's not like you and the entire universe had Darrell Daniels on your side, and I was the contrarian in this whole thing. No, you're the only person in the entire universe outside of everyone on the Cardinals team who knows who Darrell Daniels is.
Absolutely.
So, hey, DFS, you want someone super cheap?
That's literally what I'm pointing out.
Yeah.
Here. Like, if you need like a very low roster percent, like, that's a guy that nobody is going to look at.
Just don't hurt your finger when you're scrolling all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. He's going to be so cheap, it's going to allow you to pay up for, you know, the big wigs at the position, the Zeke Elliott's and the Hopkins and so forth. So
Yeah, if you want the big names in a Monday night showdown, Darrell Daniels is the opportunity, and Tommy Garrett says that's Major League Fishing out of you, Josh. MLF, Major League Fishing. But yeah, I mean, look, even if you're in like a deep 16-team league, there's no shot this guy is owned. So, like, if, you know, you have Dallas Goedert who's on IR and your other tight end's on a bye, Darrell Daniels, why not, right?
I feel like I do need to preface this. I'm not telling people to literally go out and start him.
No, that's
I'm
Josh's
saying
tight
there
end
is
1
the
this week. Darrell Daniels, tight end 1.
Potential for big plays. That is what I'm saying.
Better than
Because
Travis Kelce, tight end 1.
God, no, stop.
Travis Kelce's a bum. Darrell Daniels. Darrell Daniels, 2 catches, 95 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's
I'm
Darrell
gonna laugh
Daniels.
so hard if that happens.
That's Darrell Daniels' stat line this week. 2 catches for just shy of 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Both one-handed catches, both of them. All right, on to the downside here, because I know Samantha will run it up on time with you, so I want to get to yours here. Eric was 1-3 last week. Ryan, go ahead.
I forgot to say she is not as pressed for time as we originally thought.
I messed up the hours. I'm still adjusting to
It's that Pacific
Time
Mountain
here.
time. Yeah,
Well,
it's that
that's-
mountain time.
Let's not run 90 today, but 75 should be fine.
Yeah, no, I want to be mindful of time, but Ryan, I don't appreciate you lying to me. That's rude.
That's what I do.
Samantha, you have Baker Mayfield against Pittsburgh, Darrell Henderson against San Francisco, Tim Patrick against New England, and Tyler Higbee against the San Francisco 49ers. Ryan, you were 3-1 last week, nailing the downsides this year, 13-7 overall. You have Joe Burrow. Oh, I love to see it. Dearness Johnson, my favorite guy to put on the downsides. Robbie Anderson. Josh, you say don't spend 90% of your fab on a third-string running back.
This is true.
Are we all Dearness Johnson haters here?
Yes,
'Cause I am.
yes.
part of
Guy
that.
ran a 4.840. Like, come on.
I ran a 4.840 in high school, if that tells you anything.
It really goes to show
elite level athlete right there hosting this show.
Yes, elite level athlete in the Landon Collins Pro Bowl jersey from 2017.
It really goes to show on
And
waivers.
do you know his background?
No, go.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, do you know his background? He like literally quit football to go fish for mahi mahi for a bit.
Love that.
His whole story is really out there. So he does not have the pedigree.
So he's Ricky
of,
Williams.
a top guy.
Listen, and Josh and Ryan brought it up because I had Kareem Hunt as a downside last week, and that touchdown really killed me. That short receiving touchdown he had. But I said in that same note, D'Ernest Johnson will do nothing against this Colts defense. He's going to do nothing. The Colts are one of the best run defenses in the NFL. And what I didn't get was why people were spending 75, 80% of their fab. And Josh and Ryan brought up, they may be in 14, 16 team leagues, and they just need an able-bodied running back. And I sat there and said, okay, it makes sense. Don't spend 90% of your fab on it. But it's absurd because the guy was on the practice squad to start the season. I have never seen a practice squad guy that someone spends 90% of their fab on help them win a fantasy football championship.
It's just one thing
Never.
I want people to do when they're putting together or when they're putting in their waiver claims together is don't just focus on the role, focus on the schedule as well, because you don't know how long Chubb's out. They had Indy last week, Pittsburgh this week, and they're bye next week. You literally aren't going to be able to play this guy that you just dropped all that fab on for at least 3 weeks. And then what if Chubb's back? You've literally just wasted it. And it made no sense to me right from the rip. It gets worse.
I would also like to point out I was in a league. Actually, Ryan, we're in this one, but I was in a different one too, where Travis Fulgham went for literally 100% of somebody's fab.
Wow.
That's
and
absurd.
then in our dynasty league, he went for $95, which I think we have a $200 budget. So that's 45%.
And I saw even you and I had bid because I think you and I were the next high bidders. We bid it's a 200, so we bid 17%.
Yeah.
And
I did go up. I went to I think 51 total, but
I thought I was second and you were third. I thought it was 33.
Maybe that's what it was. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
we're
what
not
it was.
high.
Point is, don't spend an absurd amount of money on your fab for practice squad guys.
Exactly.
That's the point.
Yeah, but you know what though? Practice squad guys in Philly, they last. Look at Greg Ward.
Listen,
Just saying.
Philly
Vince Papale.
Philly's the exception, not the
exception to the
rule.
rule.
Yeah, Philly's the exception, not the rule. Ryan, you also have Robbie Anderson and Dalton Schultz. Josh, you were 1-1-2 last week. Two
guys
ties.
that didn't play.
Two guys that didn't play.
I ruled Jordan Akins as a tie because
Nope. We lost Sam real quick.
Yeah, because he was ruled out with a concussion before the game.
But if you read my stream article, not you, Josh, but everybody else, if we're going to toot my horn for a second, I said just pivot to Fells if Akins is out, and man, did that work out. So.
Yes. She's back.
There she is.
Hotspot cut out, Samantha.
Maybe. She might be hearing us. We'll get Samantha back in soon. She is back in the room, though. Teddy Bridgewater, Josh, is your downside QB. Jerick McKinnon, Darius Slayton, and Logan Thomas. Myself, I was 2-2 last week. I'm 6-12-2 overall. I said, just don't listen to me on my downsides. I sometimes hit them. Last week was my best week. Ben Roethlisberger against Cleveland. My bold one for the week is Aaron Jones against Tampa Bay, and I will explain later. DJ Moore against Chicago, and Austin Hooper against Pittsburgh. Quickly, before we get into any of these downsides, we do want to run through all these questions. We appreciate all of these coming in. We did just want to get through all these with Samantha because I thought we were smashed up on time, but we do have a little more time. I know Samantha's in and out here, but once she gets back in, we'll start covering her downsides. So one over
Bad
from
internet
Sean.
Connection in her new house. So
Yes, she just moved. She's just setting up everything, so it's just the internet on her. Obviously Sam has joined us for, even if she only joined us for 50 minutes here, she was
Show was
amazing.
better for 50 minutes.
Yeah, show was better for 50
Correct.
minutes because she was on it, and we hope to have her back for the last 25 minutes or so. So Sean, in a standard league 10-team, with Keenan Allen and Michael Thomas on a bye, his other two rostered receivers are DJ Chark and Hollywood Brown. The waiver wire is for tonight is juicy, he says. I love it. He says he can drop Dalton Schultz or Joshua Kelly for John Brown or Deontay Johnson.
Drop Kelly for Johnson.
Hold on. Yeah. Chase Claypool, Mecole Hardman, Jarvis Landry, T. Higgins, and N'Keal Harry. He asked, should he roll with Hollywood and Chark? I'll probably pick up at least one of those guys in case Chark doesn't go.
That's the problem is Chark is banged and he's losing snaps right now. I would not roll Chark out there.
You pick up Deontay Johnson. And
I would definitely pick up Deontay Johnson. But if you're looking more so for someone this week, Hardman, I think, is your guy. But Deontay Johnson season long.
Yeah. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Samantha.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm on my
No.
phone, so I don't know if this will be better or worse.
You're here. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
One thing I'm going to throw out there is the Browns can't cover wide receivers or tight ends, so this might be another good Claypool week.
Especially if they utilize him like a tight end.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. From Steely McBeam over on Facebook, David Montgomery, Kenyon Drake, Chase Edmonds in the flex position. It's a 10-team league, half-point PPR. Samantha, I'll start with you. David Montgomery, Kenyon Drake, or Chase Edmonds in the flex this week, half point.
It's got to be between Montgomery and Drake, but I don't know, maybe Montgomery, because I feel like he's a little bit safer than the other guys, just based on the way the Cardinals are running their running backs and the way that Kenyon Drake's looked recently.
It's a very fair point. Josh?
I would go Montgomery. The volume's there. Carolina struggles against stopping running backs, so I would lean Montgomery.
Okay. Ryan?
I just had to double check. I have Monty as my RB3 in my early projections, so Monty.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Yeah. David Montgomery's on waivers in one of my league.
Oh,
Goodness
go get
gracious.
him and play him right now.
Ryan, don't you worry. I'm not sitting there not picking up David Montgomery. But I'm 4-1 in that league, and I'm sitting there like, are you really just going to hand me David Montgomery this week against the Panthers? Like this, like obviously I'm bottom of the league in waiver order. But if no one picks him up, oh boy, it's gonna be a rough week for whoever I'm playing against.
Yeah.
Next one from Brickson. That's my guess, and I'm sorry if I butchered your name. He has Aaron Jones, Dalvin Cook, Chris Carson, and James Robinson.
Congratulations on your championship.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's a great running back room. He's asking, should he trade Dalvin Cook and T.Y. Hilton for Keenan Allen and Miles Sanders, or Keenan Allen and Kenyon Drake? So I will take Kenyon Drake off the table because that is consensus.
You're not doing that one.
Yeah, consensus around the room. We are not Kenyon Drake fans.
Okay, let's preface this. I am still a Kenyon Drake fan. Not digging the lack of usage in the passing game right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's fair. So should he trade Dalvin Cook and T.Y. Hilton for Keenan Allen and Miles Sanders? I'll start. Yes, because you already have Aaron Jones, Chris Carson, and James Robinson. Miles Sanders is still a top 12 running back, and Keenan Allen is worlds better than T.Y. Hilton this year. So to me, yes, I think you trade that. Ryan?
Yeah, they're saying the Allen injury is nothing major. He'll be back after the bye, so 100% make that trade.
Okay. Samantha?
Totally taking that trade, and I'm super low on T.Y. Hilton. Like I feel like he's borderline droppable at this
Agreed.
point.
Yep, at this point.
Also, the way like Phillip Rivers is playing, like he's not good.
Yeah.
Noodle Arm Rivers. I mean, body's worn out after, 15 years of football and 9 kids? I mean, the guy's done a lot in his lifetime. I don't know why we're laughing. He has 9 kids. That has... I didn't say anything sexual about it. You made it sexual. Josh,
Body's worn out.
I know what you were laughing at, you immature little idiots. Josh, to you.
I mean, come on. I'm the biggest Miles Sanders truther on the planet.
Yeah,
so,
you're an Eagles fan. Obviously, you're taking the Miles Sanders side of things. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do you want an explanation? You love Miles Sanders.
No, I mean, I do, but and look, Cook is averaging right now almost 5 points per game more than Sanders. But again, the usage right now is there for Sanders. He right now is on pace for, I believe it's 1,600 total yards and 12 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I'll take that all day. And the upgrade from Allen to Hilton is way more than that.
Yeah, it's not even close. Cook and Sanders should finish inside the top 12. T.Y. Hilton may not even see top 50 with the way that the Colts
He may not be
offense
12% rostered.
at some point this season. Yes.
To put him on like a milk carton, basically.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, so Samantha, over to your downsides here. I feel like one of the more interesting ones here is Higbee. You have Baker Mayfield, who looked okay in his last game, like you said. Darrell Henderson has kind of been up and down, with Cam Akers being back this week. That should cut into his time. And Tim Patrick, I loved Tim Patrick going into last week, but if Stephon Gilmore plays, whole different story. Tyler Higbee.
Real quick, though, they're saying that Drew Lock is going to play this week. He practiced fully today.
And that definitely adds into the whole Tim Patrick thing, yes. Yeah. Tyler Higbee. I don't know, Samantha, where you had him preseason, but a lot of people pegged Higbee for a top 10 finish.
I was absolutely not high on him going into the season. He was one of the guys that I thought was maybe going a little too high and a little too much hype from just a few games down the stretch last season. Yeah, and he finished as like the top tight end 1 week, and then like the rest of his weeks have been kind of duds. Like he finishes like tight end 21, 20, 39, and 32, which is like super yikes.
Yeah.
Gerald Everett eating into his touches. Like I don't know if we're gonna see Everett getting, I guess, that many looks, but I don't know. Like I'm not really excited to start him this week. Like he's maybe like a borderline tight end 1 this week.
I had Higbee as an upside guy, or as one of my plays last week. And of course, Gerald Everett's the ones that shows out. So I was like, hey, I was half right. The opportunity was there. But that's the situation you're getting in with the Rams, who ends up having those big weeks.
Like team defense, but team tight end.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, if we're being honest, looking at the both of them, Higbee or Gerald Everett, I mean, I'd rather put the ball in Gerald Everett's hands. That guy is an athletic freak with the ball in his hands.
But why Higbee plays is because he's a better inline blocker.
100%. That's why Higbee's on the team.
Exact game last year where everyone was like, "Well, they spent up to get Everett in that draft, but now it's Higbee and now it's Everett." It's stay away is what it is.
Yep.
It's stay away. It's like that. It's the same thing. It's like that Tampa Bay tight end room. Stay away. Everyone thought Gronk was gonna.
We learned that lesson last week.
I'm happy I picked up Brait in one of my leagues because Gronk wasn't available. But yeah, Gronk killed me in DFS. All right, Ryan, over to some of your guys here. I mean, the biggest name, Robbie Anderson. The guy's been a top 10 fantasy wide receiver in most leagues. He goes up against the Bears this week. Are you projecting he sees Kyle Fuller more than DJ Moore does? Because I have Moore as my downside, projecting he sees Kyle Fuller.
Regardless, I mean, the Bears are only giving up on average 157 yards to the wide receiver per game. So unless one or the other takes all of that, it's going to be a bad game for both of them. And they've only allowed one wide receiver touchdown, and that was to Mike Evans last week. DJ Moore projects more to the Mike Evans role than Robbie Anderson does. Robbie Anderson's the fast guy who's going to burn them, and they haven't given that up yet. Robbie's been great all season. He's obviously impossible to bench, but you need to lower your expectations this week.
That's completely fair. And a lot of these downsides you're probably not benching Robbie Anderson unless you have a really solid bench guy to start him over. A lot of these downside picks are just temper expectations and don't expect Robbie Anderson to win you games like he probably has the last few weeks. And over from David over on Facebook, the thoughts on the battle of the DJs, Duke Johnson and David Johnson in Houston under the new head coach, Romeo Crennel. I mean, it's going to be the same as it was. I don't think Crennel's going to make drastic changes. The guy was the OC or the DC? He was the DC, correct?
DC,
Crennel's a defensive guy. Yeah, I don't know why I forgot that. He was with the Patriots forever. But I don't foresee anything. I don't think Romeo Crennel, a defensive guy, is going to make drastic changes to the run game.
Yeah,
I don't.
their snap counts right now are basically what they were with Bill O'Brien when Duke Johnson was there. I mean, last week alone, David Johnson 77.6%, Duke Johnson 29.3%. I think that's pretty much what you can expect going forward. Even though I will stand by my statement that Duke Johnson is the better running back.
He's 100% the better running back. Yeah. No, most definitely. Samantha, any thoughts on that backfield? You think it stays the same or something changes?
I don't think it changes that much. Like, I mean, first of all, I'm not totally sure why Bill O'Brien would let go in this capacity. Like, they could have just taken away the GM role from him. And now I'm just kind of confused. Like, I don't think that they're going to make any, like, crazy changes, like you said, mid-season at this point, especially with a defensive guy coming in.
Yeah, I don't think they have a shot the rest of the season unless they win the next 4 games and go 500. But I think this is a throwaway season for Houston. Make sure Watson gets out of this season healthy and try and build around him with your mid-round draft picks, or trade away some assets and get some higher picks. Apparently, Brandon Cooks loves going for first-round picks, so maybe try and trade him and get a first-round pick. That seems to be Brandon Cooks' going price for some odd reason. And quickly, because Tommy, I brought this up before the show as well. He says he's jealous of your kitchen, and I agree. I very much agree. Tommy, I said the same thing. I was very jealous of the kitchen.
Thank you so much. My apartment is totally barren. Well, I have boxes, but that's at least.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right, Josh, over to you. Teddy Bridgewater obviously had a great week last week going against Chicago. Obviously, Chicago, one of the better defenses in the NFL. The one I want to focus on, Darius Slayton against Washington. Really?
Yep.
This is what I'm intrigued by, because we saw Woods, we saw Kupp Woods had a great week. Kupp had a fairly solid week. We're really not high on Darius Slayton this week.
So, well, first off, Kendall Fuller right now is Pro Football Focus's number 3 graded corner. And I don't think that really is so much up for debate. He's been a very solid corner this year. He hasn't gotten burned very much. Look, every corner is going to have lapses. It happens. And if I'm not mistaken, remembering that Rams game, it was on kind of like a swing pass that Woods broke free on. It wasn't like a typical, like a standard route.
Well, that deep touchdown that Woods caught, I believe it was a cover 2, and the DB who was in the flat was expecting to pass it off to the safety, and the safety didn't realize it. So Woods' deep touchdown was just a miscommunication on defense in a zone defense, so that he didn't burn anybody by any means.
Yeah, I mean, Kendall Fuller that game only allowed 2 catches for 25 yards and had an interception while covering Cooper Kupp. So they didn't even have Robert Woods on Fuller, or at least when they did, they didn't target him. So there's that. Look, when Darius Slayton goes off, and he's done that a few times. I believe he has 3 100-yard games in his career. He's never had more than 4 catches the following week. Now, again, he's a very young receiver. He's only going into his 2nd year. Different offensive coordinator, still the same quarterback. And we've seen the Washington defensive line get after quarterbacks, and we've also seen how crappy the Giants' offensive line is.
What do you mean they're great?
Exactly. Yeah, they're great at
They're
getting
great.
Daniel Jones killed in the backfield.
Yeah,
So
last game, like, he looked okay for the first time, I think, because of those like top 4 linemen that went in like the top part of that draft. Like, he was kind of the only guy that I thought didn't look that great so far. So I think an encouraging sign, at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, and I would have to imagine that Chase Young is going to be back this week. I don't pay as much attention to the defensive side of the ball, so don't quote me on that. But, again, you get Chase Young back, Daniel Jones is going to have some problems. And for me, this is going to be a game where I think Golden Tate is going to shine, where the Redskins defense has struggled against pass catchers. It's been in the slot. It hasn't been necessarily on the outside.
What team?
The Giants.
The Washington football team.
The Washington football team. Sorry, excuse me.
I don't.
My apologies.
Who are these Redskins you speak of? I'm
Shame
too
on
young.
me.
I'm too young to know who they are. But quickly, David over on Facebook says that he loves your TikToks, Sam. Says to keep it up. So we got a fan in the crowd.
I'm waiting for you, Joe, at least once before we end the show, to get her name correct. It's Samantha, not Sam.
I have said Samantha, and I keep
Every
saying
single
Sam.
time, dude.
If only you had asked her before the show what she wanted.
Right?
Guys.
You tried. It's cool.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm like,
compliment on TikToks. I gotta start making more again. I've been feeling moving and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like
I'm like little busy.
He's gonna get on TikTok too. I'm kind of waiting for you all to make your TikTok debut.
Wheezy Weez the Mustache Man. Go follow him. At Wheezy Weez the Mustache Man. He's gonna.
I'm seriously waiting for you to literally start that with that handle, Ryan. I really am.
At Wheezy,
I may not have a choice for much longer.
Right?
At Wheezy Weez. I think it might be too long, so I may have to shorten it.
Here's my only experiences with TikTok, Samantha. My girlfriend, when she wakes up, the first thing she does is she goes on TikTok, and I'm like, oh, okay, so I know to get up because it's TikTok o'clock, and I can get my own stuff done. That is my only experience with TikTok.
My only experience with TikTok is Samantha.
I never thought I'd get into it, and it just kind of was like a quarantine thing, and it's kind of funny because people that don't know fantasy, they're like, oh, you must have a lot of time on your hands. And yeah, I'm sitting inside doing nothing.
I told you this privately. I stumbled upon your I'm an accountant one and was like, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. So then I went and watched all of them, but they're so good.
Shoot her a follow there, Samantha.
Yes.
On TikTok. I'm batting 300, which is still somewhat Hall of Fame numbers on the name. All right, guys. I'm batting 300. I'm trying. I swear I'm trying. I
love Tommy's comment on this. This is great.
Yeah,
Someone get Mahomes' mom in here to correct Joe.
Tommy, how's your Scott Fishbowl team looking, buddy? From 2nd to 1600th.
Yeah.
Be a tough fall from grace there.
Wait, how have your Scott Fishbowl teams done?
I don't have one, so that's strange.
You gotta talk to Ryan over there. He's the only one on the team that has one.
I'm 3-2. My points aren't where they need to be, but I'm hitting my matchups right. So I'm hoping to sneak into the playoffs and wins. I've not missed the playoffs in Scott Fish in 3 years. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Humble brag.
I have
Humble brag.
a completely fraudulent team. It's 4-1 now or whatever. It was 4-0 going to last week, and it's not good. So
Yeah, that's basically where I stand. I had Godwin and Michael Thomas as my first 2 picks, which I don't normally go 0 RB. And then of course Michael Thomas and Chris Godwin haven't played in 3 weeks. So it's been fun.
That's why you don't go 0 RB. And now Tommy says he's taking his earrings off.
The earrings are coming off. Someone blows.
Fist fights with me. Tommy, come on the show anytime. Don't you worry. Come on the show anytime. All right, into my big downside for the week. My guy's Aaron Jones. And I was going through...
This is dangerous.
This is very dangerous. Yes, I know it is very dangerous.
Because, again, it's a loss outside of the top 24. So you're saying that he won't be...
a top 24 running back.
RB2 this week.
Correct. I had Kareem Hunt there last week, and the touchdown killed me, but I was close. He ended up at 17. I know close is still a loss, but Jones is going up against Tampa, and we all know that Tampa has probably the best run defense in the NFL. They allow the least amount of yards per carry at 2.7. The next closest is Pittsburgh at 3.3, and we all know how good Pittsburgh's defense is, especially in the run game. We saw outside of that Miles Sanders big touchdown, they held him to 10 carries for 6 yards. They also have the second least total rushing yards allowed in the entire league. They have not allowed a single run over 20 yards, and their longest run allowed this season is only 14 yards. The next closest is New England at 23 yards. The numbers say Aaron Jones shouldn't have a great week. My gut says, shut up with the numbers, Joe. You're going to start Aaron Jones, so it doesn't matter.
I was going to say, Mr. I'm never going analytics. The kind of feels
Again,
like that's what
I
you're
always
following
preface
here.
this. I hate advanced analytics. Yards per carry is not an advanced analytic.
It's not.
It's not at all, right? Spark score is an advanced analytic that needs to be taken away, shot behind the barn, lit on fire. But no, I mean, look, I think Aaron Jones' saving grace is he'll probably get in the end zone twice.
That's what he does.
That's probably going to be the Aaron Jones saving grace. But looking at this, I always bring in, a somewhat bold pick for my weeks. I almost hit it with Travis Kelce. If we had switched our criteria, I would have hit it with Travis Kelce. But I think, looking at the matchup, I'm just not a fan of Aaron Jones' matchup this week. You're not sitting Aaron Jones. Let me preface this. You're not sitting Aaron Jones.
Temper expectations.
Yeah, temper expectations. You're not going to sit Aaron Jones. I just don't foresee him having an Aaron Jones type week that you may expect from him. So just sit back on that one. Be careful with it. All right, before we jump into our stream of the week, we do want to say thank you, Samantha, for joining us. I nailed it, guys. Samantha, yeah. I'm going to say it 1,000 times.
It only took you 70 minutes.
I told you I'm batting 300, which is borderline Hall of Fame numbers for a career player. That's all I'm saying.
No, I just wanted to give Samantha an opportunity to jump off. I know you had plans later on tonight, and I didn't. We tend to get a little talky at the end of the show. So.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm sorry about the internet trouble.
No.
Getting moved in, and everything's all over the place. So.
No, thank you for agreeing to come on in the middle of doing all this crap you're doing.
Absolutely,
really
And Samantha, you are welcome to come back at any time.
Anytime.
It was an absolute blast.
And as I mentioned, that got this whole thing started. If you're not a part of our Women of Fantasy Football shows next year, I riot. So you're going to be on there too. So
we even have little koozies made up that will fit your White Claws that are in your wine fridge.
Yes.
That's part of this whole the White Claw fridge, really.
There you go.
I love it.
Thank you so much.
Yes. If you haven't already, follow her at Samantha NFL on Twitter, and be sure to check out her TikTok as well, which is always a good time. Samantha, thank you again, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Samantha.
All right. And so getting back into things here, Tommy says, go play some rando tight end against Dallas and sit Aaron Jones. That's what he's taking.
That's the kind of advice you can expect on Club Fantasy.
Yep.
Take it straight to your Scott Fish roster.
Yes, straight to the Scott Fish roster, Tommy. Tommy, I guarantee you Darrell Daniels is available in the Scott Fish. Might want to go pick him up. Might take your team from 1,600 to 1,500. If my projections of 2 catches for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns is correct.
There you go. With one.
All right. Ryan, we already prefaced your quarterback, Kirk Cousins. Quickly give me a talk on Irv Smith, because you had him as your upside tight end as well. We weren't really able to touch on Irv Smith. Why do you like him this week?
Yeah, so it ties into Kirk Cousins. The Falcons are just a punching bag. He has been a disappointment thus far in 2020, which is why he's going to be out there. But he did see 5 targets against Seattle. They're not bad against the tight end, but they're bad against pass catchers. And there was a lot of talk early on in the season about Smith kind of sliding out and playing more slot and wide receiver, and I think that's what we're going to start seeing. If he can just repeat what he did last week, 4 balls, 64 yards, he's already going to be a win for you. And then if he adds a touchdown to that, that's probably good enough for a top 5 week this week. The Falcons give up the second most fantasy points to tight ends on top of that, but there is a little bit of risk here because Carolina's tight ends, who aren't very good, did nothing against them.
To be fair, they don't utilize them.
Exactly. Yeah. And Minnesota loves to utilize the tight end. It just hasn't popped enough this year. Coming off of his first decent week of the year into a game with Atlanta, that's just perfection for a stream of the week.
I think the biggest thing, too, they'll look to Irv Smith with Dalvin Cook out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think last week was more like, hey, we're going to throw to Madison because it's
because the game plan was already built. So,
correct. Yeah. This week with the game plan starting from scratch, ideally without Cook, you might see more Irv Smith involvement. And one thing that I'm finding very interesting, I'm looking through Pro Football Focus right now. Irv Smith has not run a route from the slot.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Yeah, I didn't see that. I just assumed that that's what they were going to try to start doing because that's what the talk was early on. But if they're still running him as a tight end, that's actually better against Atlanta anyway. So,
yeah.
we're not going to talk about Cousins because everybody knows go get Cousins. Remember, guys, waivers are weird right now. Cousins is available in 67% of Yahoo leagues, 78% of ESPN, and because he is a weekly disappointment, great read for my stream of the week, Irv Smith is available in 95% of leagues on both Yahoo and ESPN. So.
Okay, getting into your defense now, the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, another one with big availability. Nobody would have ever thought you were starting the Dolphins at any point, but after what they did last week, how can't you? They just put it on San Francisco, and now you get Adam Gase and the Jets. It's a match.
But you have to go against Joe Flacco.
Ooh, actually, is Darnold out? Regardless, I'm not worried whatsoever.
Yeah, they've already said the Flacco starting this week.
Okay, so they've obviously just released LeVeon Bell. So I guess our biggest worry right now is a Frank Gore revenge game. Jamison Crowder is going to eat. It's just a question. Even if Jamison Crowder scores 2 touchdowns and Miami allows 14 points, the amount that they're going to get after the quarterback, the amount that they're going to force turnovers, they're going to be a great play. They're available in 90% of leagues because they have not been good until last week. So again, it's risky, but I'm going to be honest with you. If you're looking at stream defense right now, they are all high risk. If I'm going to go high risk, I'm going to go against the team that's allowing the most points to fantasy defenses, and that is the New York Jets.
Awesome. Quickly before I get into my kicker of the week, which I know everyone sticks around for, because again, 5-0. I am as shocked as you are.
There you go.
And then my Blurred's line pick as well, which may change. The line has already moved up a half a point. Wow. So I do want to preface that. The line has already moved up a half a point from when I started doing it this morning. Sean over on YouTube, once again, says he agrees with all of us on the Higbee topic. He says he agrees with Samantha. He's just about done with him. Waiver Wire is looking Austin Hooper, Jimmy Graham, Eric Ebron, Cameron Brate, Jordan Akins, and Trey Burton. Who you guys thinking out of those available tight ends this week? Personally, I like Jimmy Graham this week. I have him as my upside. Josh?
I like Jimmy Graham rest of season. This week, I think you could definitely get away with Trey Burton. He seems to be kind of running the most routes there among the 3 tight ends. They've really taken Mo Alley Cox and just parked him in the garage at this point. But against Cincinnati, tight ends can do well. And I think this might be a week where you could see a top 12 performance from Trey Burton.
Yep. Ryan?
I assume Irv Smith's out there as well. I would clearly go Irv Smith, but if not Irv Smith, I would go Ebron.
Okay. And Tommy wants to weigh in on kicker of the week here. He says Jason Sanders, which is not a bad one. If Sanders is available in your league, definitely go get him. I just see
all Dolphins.
Yep.
I see Miami scoring more than they will kick field goals. So I think Sanders' value is limited there.
Score 7 touchdowns, and that's
they could. That's 7 points.
I do want to throw out. I was so happy to see Myles Gaskin get a touchdown. I was so worried they were going to bring Howard into that damn game again. And
I thought Howard was inactive last week. Didn't they make him a surprise inactive last week?
Ooh, if they did, I missed that completely. Okay.
I remember because I remember Linda tweeting about it, and she was just like, son of a bitch, the week that I have to actually rely on Howard, he's a surprise inactive. A healthy scratch, no less. Yeah.
Gotta hate it. But,
wow.
So Tommy brought up Jason Sanders. Jason Sanders is a great name. If he's available, go get him. I like kind of doing darker horse names. So I went with a guy who I personally am 50-50 on as a kicker, but I think is a great matchup is Dustin Hopkins in New York against the Giants. I said Alex Smith starting his comeback tour. That's not happening. Guess it's Kyle Allen.
Guess it's Dustin
Who
Hopkins.
can move the ball better than Alex Smith? Let's start with that.
Yeah,
Alex Smith looked very skittish last week.
Sure, yeah. No, most definitely. I think either way, tough time scoring. Washington is still going to have a tough time putting the ball in the end zone. I think they'll get there. They just won't be able to punch it in, which is where Dustin Hopkins comes in. Hopkins will miss a field goal. To me, that's a guarantee he's going to miss a field goal, especially if it's a long one. So if you lose points in your league for field goals, be cautious of that. But if it's over 50 yards, you should only lose 1 point, where the risk reward factor is too good at that point.
I was going to say, in all my leagues, that's how I tier kickers. It's you lose 1 point for 50 yards, 2 for 40, 3 for 30 and under.
Yeah. So I want to.
Obviously, the longer the field goal, the higher the difficulty. You shouldn't lose the same amount of points. So.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So I just want to make just prefacing that for people's leagues. But I like Dustin Hopkins this week. He hasn't shown out at all this week. It's Washington. They're not a great football team. No pun.
But they are the football team.
They are the football team.
The
it's not a great
team
football team.
Of football players from Washington that play football.
But not from Washington. They actually play in Virginia. So, but I like Dustin Hopkins this week. I think he's a lower rostered kicker, and I think he has potential for top 12 upside. My blurred lines pick smashed the Panthers last week. Smashed the Panthers.
I was going to say the final score of that game was not as close as the game was.
No. Oh my God. No, the Panthers smoked them on the field. Yeah, smoked them on the field. Yeah, like I doubled down on the Panthers because at one point the line moved to Atlanta -3, and I'm like, thank you. I'll take the Panthers +3, and then I bet a money line twice. So big win on the Panthers last week, 2-2-1 overall. That one being off of week 1 where the Bengals pushed at +3. This week, I already prefaced it. The line has moved up a half a point since I made this morning. New England is now a 10-point favorite against Denver.
And you're still going to take New England.
And I'm
+10,
still going to stick with that. And because I normally...
If Drew Lock plays, does that change your mind, Denny?
It sways me a little bit.
But that's a big line, dude.
It is, and I never like taking those big lines, but I did bet Baltimore this week -8 against Philly.
Hell, I would take that bet, and I'm an Eagles fan.
Yeah, sorry, Josh, that's -8. Yeah, Baltimore hasn't lost. All their wins have come by at least 2 touchdowns.
Mark Andrews is going to score 3 touchdowns this week.
Yeah. But so when I was going through it, because I thought about that when I saw Drew Lock is practicing, I'm like, okay, does that sway me in any way, right? Because PFF currently has this as the Patriots are 46% favored to cover. So the analytics say that the Patriots are not favored to cover the spread, which is obviously what this is all about, me going against the analytics.
Yep. Yeah.
Belichick preys on rookie QBs, which is what I prefaced this on with Brett Rippon. They always struggle against Bill, especially playing in New England. Yep. Bill Belichick has never lost to a rookie quarterback in New England. He is 12-0. The last rookie QB to start in New England was Daniel Jones. It was on a short week. Bill didn't have a lot of time to review film and create a great game plan. New York lost that game 33-0. 33-0. Now, he's obviously had more time to review Rippon's film. Now he has even more time to review Drew Lock's film. So, you're looking at that. Rippon struggled against the Jets. Lock didn't look great against the Titans. And then obviously gets injured in week 2 against Pittsburgh. So, that's kind of a wash on most of his season right now. But no Noah Fant, most likely. No Cortland Sutton. No Von Miller. Potentially no Melvin Gordon. And I believe Philip Lindsay is back, correct?
Lindsay will be back, but yeah.
Yeah, so Philip Lindsay should be back. But you're looking at that, they're depleted when it comes to some of their skill position players. In the 2 games that the Patriots have played at home this year, they've won both games by 10 points or more. So if the line's -10 and they win by 10, you're still pushing, which isn't a loss. Go ahead, Josh.
It is now a good time to tell you that Brett Rippon's not actually a rookie.
He's a second-year player, right?
Yep.
But he's never played before this year.
He's still not a rookie.
It's still his first year playing in the league. Pro Football Reference has him as only playing in 2020 because he was a practice squad player.
Because he was a practice. Agreed. Yes, but that's not a rookie in the NFL. That would be a rookie in baseball.
He spent that entire first year studying the Patriots.
Yeah, exactly.
So here we go, right? Brett Rippon is now going to tear apart the New England Patriots defense because he's in his second year second game potentially as a starter.
I'm just correcting all the stats you were throwing out. That's
Potentially.
all.
Yeah.
Potentially.
How do they do
Yeah.
against second-year players in Foxborough?
How does Bill Belichick do against young quarterbacks, you ask, in Foxborough? He beat Patrick Mahomes. That all I have to tell you? He beat Patrick Mahomes in New England. That's all I got to tell you. Is he beat Patrick Mahomes in his first year as a starter in New England?
What is Belichick's record against the Rippon family?
Ooh.
I didn't look up that fact. I didn't look that up. I didn't care about Mark Rippon, correct? That's his father,
Yeah,
Mark?
That would be
Uncle. Yeah, didn't care about Mark.
You should. He won a Super Bowl with the Redskins.
Oh, yeah, when they were that is correct, Josh.
Yeah.
Wood, when they were the Redskins. Yes. Back at a time way before our time.
So let me tell you a story.
No, way before your time.
Yes.
Let me tell you a story that Mark Rippon has been preparing Brett for this moment his entire life.
The moment Brett could understand what an X and an O was, he was preparing him to face Bill Belichick 22 years down the line. Look, the Drew Lock starting obviously plays more towards Denver's hand in covering. I don't care. I do not care. That Denver defense is
getting Cam
not
back,
good.
I think they're going to be fine.
And
I don't know
that's
if
the
they're
thing.
10. I don't know if they're -10 fine, but they're fine.
And that's the thing is, if it was Stidham or Hoyer, we may have a different story.
Correct.
But me seeing the news that Cam is off the list, going to start, that helped. It was obviously before Drew Lock was announced that he was a full participant in practice. Again, it doesn't sway me enough to change my blurred line pick, because I really do think that the Patriots are going to pile it on. Josh, you talked about it. They gave up 2 100-yard rushers. This is a run-first offense right now. Even then, Cam Newton still looks comfortable throwing the football. The last team they played against in the AFC West was the Raiders, and they smoked them at home. Look, that Patriots defense held Patrick Mahomes to 19 points.
Oh, yeah, it's a good pick.
I'm sorry,
I'm
Drew
not
Lock
saying
is
it's a bad pick. I'm saying it's a risky pick.
It's definitely
Like
it's
anytime you see double-digit lines in the NFL, I get nervous. But again, I'm not a gambler, so
Josh,
I'm not a gambler in that sense. Let me rephrase that.
It's against the analytics.
So
I'm always going to be a risky pick technically. Go ahead, Brian.
I was going to quickly go through and try to see how Mark Rippon did against Bill Belichick in his career, but this has totally got side railed. First of all, Mark Rippon played for Bill Belichick in Cleveland, which is just incredible to me. But Joe, you won't know this because you're a baby. Josh, random guess. When do you think Mark Rippon retired? Because my mind was just blown.
2006.
No, he retired in. I thought it was 2002.
Congratulations. I thought this dude was old as shit when he won his Super Bowl.
No shit, that was right.
2001, actually. So probably, yeah. But in my head, I see Mark Rippon as this 80s, early 90s like quarterback. I did not think he was still playing into the 2000s.
He was only like a third or fourth year quarterback when he won with the Redskins, I thought.
Yeah, it just shocked me.
He bounced around to like a couple different teams. I thought he played with the Jets too. So he had a couple teams under his belt. Okay.
Yeah, it was Washington, Cleveland, St. Louis, Philly, back to St. Louis, and then Indy is where he ended up.
Thought he was with the Jets too, but yeah.
But yeah, just I've watched football my entire life. I knew who Mark Rippon was. I searched him on Pro Football Reference and it said 2001. I was like, this can't be the right guy because there's no way he was playing until 2001. But there you go. So
nice.
Regardless, Patriots should win by at least 10 points.
I'm now full on board. It's not going to be Brett Rippon. If Brett Rippon was starting this game, I would have so much fun with this. But never mind. So I'm just going to shut up now.
Yes, let's move on and wrap up the show.
Yeah, my pick is the Patriots minus 10 now on Pro Football Focus against Denver at home in Foxborough. All right. Big thank you to Samantha, who is not here with us. But yes, follow her at Samantha NFL and be sure to check out her TikTok as well.
I believe it's the same handle at Samantha NFL.
Yes. Start Sit Different Day, of course, on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Always join us there. It's going to be us three. Faith may drop in later in the show, but I know she will be working due to the election season. That is going to be over on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube as well. Start Sit Different Day. Join us Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Check out the Speakeasy and Club Dynasty over on YouTube. Club Dynasty is the first iteration of our Dynasty show with Tommy Garrett, who was on that show, our first airing of that Dynasty show last Friday. Next week, we have Week 7, obviously, and Jake Trowbridge. Am I saying that correctly? Jake Trowbridge, Twitter comedian and co-host of the Drinking and Talking Fantasy Football podcast.
I say Twitter comedian, not that he's actually a comedian. He's just funny as hell on Twitter. Let's be real. Jake is fucking
solid
awesome.
follow.
Yes, so we will be having Jake join us on the show next week. So be sure to tune in for that next week, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, your live recordings of No Punt Intended. If you are listening back to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Google Podcasts, that's where you can find us live Wednesday nights. Yes, Joshua.
And real quick, for those that are listening to us live that hopefully tuned in to us when we were doing our Women of Fantasy shows, the Women's Sports Foundation, which we raised $1,500 for during our charity drive, they're doing their annual Women in Sports Gala currently right now. You can go over to yahoosports.com and you can watch that and see what the whole charity and the organization as a whole is about. They're actually honoring Bruce Arians. So again, it all ties back in not only just to football, but just women in sports in general. And that's what we like to promote. Obviously, we have, Samantha Previte on the show with us this week. We've had a plethora of different women that have come on. We value that. Let's support women in sports in general. Check out the Women's Sports Foundation, yahoosports.com, currently going on right now.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
You
Great
probably
job,
could have,
Josh.
but thanks.
Oh, thanks, man. That's what I'm here for, saying things.
I had to step in. It wasn't in the notes, so.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for, saying things good. That's my English, saying things good. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Join us Saturday. You'll see our three lovely faces again here answering all of your Start Sit questions. You can follow Josh at the One Hudsonian, Ryan at the Fantasy 5, myself at Joe_Zolo, and you can follow Club Fantasy on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Club Fantasy FFL. The URL is clubfantasyffl.com, where you can find all of the lovely articles that we will be posting. Always remember, defense wins championships. Offense wins fantasy football. Join us next week for the Week 7 fantasy football preview with none other than Jake Trowbridge.